first time a street was to be named in honor of a person, DeSaba was overlooked, and the street honors were given to Jefferson, Washington, and yes, John Kenzie, who purchased DeSaba's property. The first quarter of the 19th century, there was a showdown between the Italians and the Scandinavians, with more than 25,000 supporters on each side to rename the outer drive in honor of Italian Columbus or Leif Erikson, the Scandinavian. A compromise was later reached, which allowed a new drive that was called Columbus Drive to start at the corner of at the outer drive and the curb at Soldier Field, to cut through that land known as the Lakefront Park, now known as Grant Park, as a way of establishing the Italian DeSaba, not DeSaba, but rather a Columbus Drive. In 1927, the strong mobilization push by some 25,000 Norwegians renamed the outer drive as Leif Erikson Drive. DeSaba was again shut out. In 1946 and 47, another chance for DeSaba to be considered. But once again, DeSaba was locked out, and the Leif Erikson Drive was named Lake Shore Drive. 1969, people were talking about renaming LSD in honor of DeSaba, but it was a time of Apollo 11. With Americans landing on the moon, some people were pushing to rename LSD as Apollo Drive. However, nothing happened. In 1993, activist and historian Dr. Margaret Taylor Barrows campaigned with her team to rename Lakeshore Drive as DeSaba Drive. The ordinance was presented in the City Council by then Alderman Tony Preckwinkle, but it failed to get enough votes. To draw your attention to the founding father, my organization, Martin's International, produced our third African Caribbean International Festival of Life in 1995 at the Cityfront Center, which is west of Navy Pier, approximately 2 blocks from where DeSaba started this great city. The attendees were about 60% black. But before it was over, we were called invaders by the then Alderman Bert Notaris and the era resident. Although our peaceful and cultural event had about 5 times fewer attendees than the weekly White Festival. Nevertheless, Dr. Barrows, who was in attendance, invited us to take the festival to DeSaba Sunken Garden, which we gladly did. For more than 25 years, at various Martin's International events, like the Chicago Music Awards, which, as you heard, will be celebrating our 40th anniversary on April 2nd, the IRAMA, which is the International Reggae and World Music Awards, and the African Caribbean International Festival of Life, we have been calling for DeSaba's justice. It was not until the brutal murder of George Floyd that our organization, Martin's International, and Justice Hall established the Black Heroes Matter Coalition of some 80 organizations, then later linked with ordinance sponsor Alderman Moore in the campaign that led to the renaming of the iconic DeSaba Lakeshore Drive on June the 25th, 2021, with the unveiling and installation of the sign on October the 21st, 2021. The campaign calling for an end to systemic racism officially kicked off July 4th, 2020. The rally and march from DeSaba Bridge and Michigan Avenue, as some of you may have seen in the earlier part watching the video, the Grand Park, where we joined the Black Skaters and Black Lives Matter, with some 5,000 people from various persuasions calling for an end to systemic racism, police brutality, and more. Martins International, Black US Matter Coalition, took our media campaign nationally and internationally, calling for other cities to do something for the Saba in their own cities. Well, as you saw and you may have known now, New York, Councilman Dr. Matthew Eugene did something. In Brooklyn, New York, Jean Baptiste Point de Saba Boulevard has been added to part of the famous Flatbush Avenue. What a victory for the Saba, with more to come. You see, as brutal as it was, George Floyd did not die in vain. George Floyd died so that others could live, so that historic changes would come, that police brutality